you want to say it. Welcome to the channel, you guys. My name is Kiapa. Welcome back to my tribe. I'm trying to keep my arm out. All right, you guys. So I got a question the other day. I got a couple questions, but this one I remember because I was like, I know why y'all asked that question. So a couple weeks ago, when I was still working at the job, well, it's been a couple months at this point. When I was working at the job, I posted how I got kicked out the room. And I did, like, the first time I got kicked out the room, then the last time I got kicked out the room, that's when the doctor thought cussing me out was like appropriate behavior. And so the question was, why do you get kicked out the room? And so for me, I really can't. The first time, I don't know what it was. I could just say sometimes the doctors have their preferences. It's a personality clash sometimes, and not like where you in there being disrespectful, talking to them like you the doctor. Like, no, I'm not a disrespectful person. So when I'm in the room with you, especially if I'm assisting, then I'm just kind of there to help. Not kind of there to help, I'm there to help. And like also advocate like for the patient if the doctor doing something sometimes that, like, let's just say with this one particular doctor, when she kicked me out the room, the patient that we had was about 400 pounds. So when you overweight, y'all, and you and you get operations and stuff, we have to adjust our instruments, right? So we have to get longer instruments sometimes, or you have to adjust how you doing the surgery. So this particular surgery was a laparoscopic procedure. I think it was like a lap chole or something. I can't remember. And so she was using the doctor was using a Verries needle, and she kept sticking the patient like multiple times. And if y'all know what a Verries needle is, it's not like a sharp needle, but it's like blunt on the tip, but it can go through tissue. So not skin, but it'll go through like adipose tissue and fascia and stuff. And so when she kept doing it, it seemed unhealthy for the patient to me. Like, it was like after the fifth or sixth time, you shouldn't be sticking this person. So I suggested that we get a longer Verries needle so she could actually get into the space, into her abdominal cavity. And then the doctor didn't want that. So, but kind of find out earlier that day, that doctor had already had some other stuff going on. And so at the end of the case, I got pulled out the room. It was no confrontation. It was no back and forth conversation. She said she didn't want the Verries needle. She went and did a whole different approach and added a whole nother port site to the patient instead of getting the Verries needle. So sometimes sometimes the doctors don't want you to suggest things because their ego is in play and they feel like they're the doctors and they know best. The last room I got kicked out of was with that one surgeon, the little one with the Napoleon syndrome. And it was really surprising to me for him to kick me out of the room because me and him had so many good conversations prior to that. So I really can't say what his problem was, but this is what I came up with in general. When you in a room with these physicians, a lot of times we be thinking that they like are in healthy mental states. Because this is what I'm gonna say, a lot of the physicians be on some bipolar, not bipolar, but they be like spazzing out, and they don't be having a lot of patience and control. Now this is what I'm gonna say, if you go in the room and you on some non-competency type stuff, because you could get kicked out the room for not being competent. And that's different. Like if you finna create some kind of harm in a patient, a staff member, or something like that, then obviously like that's a given. Or yeah, basically like if you gonna do something that's finna create harm to somebody, or you clearly don't know what you're doing, you can get put out of the room, because sometimes the doctors don't want to train you. Like some of them just don't have the capacity to train people, but some of them do. But the ones, when they kick you out your room for doing your job, or they can't communicate effectively with you to get everybody on the same page, Normally it's because they be having mental shit going on in their own head. And we don't be realizing like they be done put themselves in this position where they're under pressure and they feel like they have the right. They feel like they have the right. Good morning. They feel like right to be, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they in this superiority space and then they just talk to you and they feel like they can't any kind of way. So a lot of times when they kick you out the room, it ain't got nothing to do with you. A lot of times they kicking you out the room if it's like I said, if it don't have nothing to do with your competencies. Because if you're not competent, you don't know what you're doing, then yeah, you got to go. Especially like if it's a really like cranies and all those kind of cases. If you any kind of case, you should be competent, but some of them you got to be more it's just a higher stress level because of the type of injury it is, right? But besides the competencies, when doctors kick you out the room and it ain't nothing really that you did, it's them. Like you got to understand they human beings too. A lot of them just have that complex, like they better than. So what they'll end up doing is basically taking it out on the person that they feel like at the bottom of them, beneath them. Like y'all ever heard the saying shit roll downhill? So they feel like basically because I'm the surgeon. And the truth is, it's not just the surgeons, because the facilities should really take like talk to the staff or come up with a way for them to not allow the doctors just to be kicking out patients, or not patients, but kicking out the tech or the first assist. Because what it does in the dynamic of the team, especially like for me, and I done been on enough teams inside the OR and outside, right? So when I was in the military, you couldn't single out people because it changed the dynamic of the team. Y'all finna go to work? Have a good day. Good morning. As a travel tech, can you yeah, on call, on travel assignments, some travel assignments do. My bad, I was connected to my Wi-Fi. I was trying to pick up. All right, so, but yeah, you can sign up for call and overtime. Typically, if you're on a travel assignment, they're gonna need as much help as they can get. So you can pretty much do what you need to do as far as picking up shifts go. But I hadn't never, y'all, speaking of travel assignments, I have never been kicked out of the room on a travel assignment. This is why I tell you, sometimes it's a power trip. They be on a power trip. If you come in there and you all like bubbly, you all positive, you know what I'm saying? You are in your power and your element. Especially if you like, if y'all know what a divine feminine, anything like that, if you're in your divine energy, your presence alone, a lot of people don't realize that. Like, I don't be realizing that. But sometimes your presence alone, if you in the light, if you got this positive ass soul, when you in a room with people that's low vibe, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can feel they intimidated by you a lot of times because you're not like me. I don't let my lifestyle not dictated by my job, right? Physicians and surgeons and stuff. You're welcome, Barnique. You're welcome. A lot of times the physicians, they have a lifestyle where they stuck. You know what I'm saying? They stuck coming to work. They stuck dealing with these patients. They got wives and kids with, you know, that they got to provide for this certain lifestyle that they created, you know, around this salary of a surgeon salary, which is a really good salary, right? But you gotta think, doctors are still, that's still their job. Even though it's like kind of a business, they're still stuck with being at a certain place for us, doing a certain task for money. So they still trading their time for money. So even though they're making good money, but if they create this lifestyle around their salary, then they stuck. So then they miserable sometimes because they be in these ORs all the time or they be spending a lot of time in the OR, maybe not all the time, but they spend a lot of time in the OR, and they just become really grumpy and not happy with their life. A lot of times people don't be happy with their life, their real life. That's why I want y'all to be like working on your mindset and stuff, so if something do pop off, you know what I'm saying, you mentally prepared. You ain't got to be like low vibrational like some of these people. But not all the doctors are like that. Some of them actually be on some really like inspirational, uplifting. Some of them real cool. Like most of the doctors I work with in California, very, very, very laid back. The doctors I work with in New Mexico, I won't say they was laid back, but the grumpiest one wasn't really that grumpy. He was just direct. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you got to understand the difference between being like somebody being direct with you and being disrespectful. So I don't mind direct communication. I do mind disrespectful, and some of these doctors will assume that because they're in this position that they're superior, and so a lot of times they kick you out the room, and then the hospitals, they're gonna let them kick you out the room because they want the doctor to be happy. You know what I'm saying? Have I worked? No, I haven't worked in Atlanta. I have not. Maybe I'll take a contract there one day, but I wouldn't mind working in Atlanta because I'm pretty sure, and I don't know, y'all can, well, I'm pretty sure I would enjoy the experience of being in a place like Atlanta just for a short period of time. It's too many people in Atlanta for me. It's too many people there. But yeah, if y'all get kicked out the room, if you get kicked out the room after being like, now taking mine, y'all, I've been in the game for a minute, so it's not a competency level when it comes down to me being in the room, but it could be a level like she too, you know, she too hurt, she too into who she is. Because I'm very confident and comfortable in that OR with who I am outside of the OR. You know, like I'm like, this who I am. I embrace, good morning, thank you for that light. I embrace my culture. I embrace everything it is that I can embrace about my culture. And I don't have a problem with enlightening people on certain things about my culture, right? Some people feel like that's, you know, you're too comfortable with having certain, like you're just too comfortable in your skin. Some people want you to be, like they get a kick out of trying to make people feel inferior. You know, this is what I'm saying. A lot of people be on power trips, y'all. You got to be mindful. They be on power trips with a mental health condition that's undiagnosed. Because some of them be depressed and you don't know it. One of the docs I used to work with, he would shake like a mug, like, and I ain't talking about the nerve shaking, y'all. I'm talking about like it's a neurological problem, excuse me. And he had the nerve to kind of be not arrogant, but kind of like have a little attitude sometimes. And I'm thinking like, you should be nice to the people because you sitting up here shaking, and now your first assistant have to come in here and close this damn patient up because you can't. But y'all don't be knowing, like when you get, it's crazy because I be wondering like when these people be meeting they patients, do they patients be knowing about the doctor's health care situation? Like if you finna operate on me, I need to know if your ass done took your meds this morning. What kind of meds you on? Are you bipolar? Do you have some kind of anxiety? You know, like all of us have, a lot of people have mental health issues. Like mental health is a big thing. And it's even bigger when you're in the operating room because they got the stress of you got somebody's life in your hand, this person can actually die. Right? So I get that. But I still think like kicking somebody out the room is a very weak move because you're trying to exert your power. Like people that's in power, like in real power, like if you're really powerful, you don't have to put that out there. Like if I'm the big dog, I don't have to tell nobody I'm the big dog. Everybody know I'm the big dog when I walk in. But the people that feel like, oh, I'm finna kick them out the room, maybe let's just say too, because some people might, a lot of times it could be personalities. Like, that's what I was really finna say. A lot of times it could be personalities, because I was working with this nurse and her personality was very, very upfront. But you know what? She was allowed to have her personality. Like, they let her be who she wanted to be, but she just couldn't work with certain doctors because maybe they didn't like, maybe she talked too much, maybe they didn't like, some people don't like how you sound. But I just think a lot of these physicians forget that they are human, and they end up taking it out on the staff. And I'm just like, I'm gonna tell you, y'all, if it comes to a point in your career where you feel like you're not being treated the way you need to be treated, then the best thing for you to do is to remove yourself from that situation. Because it don't make no sense for you to be sitting here arguing, going back and forth, complaining to human resources. Like, I ain't doing none of that. Y'all can get somebody else in here to come scrub these cases, and I'll go home. I'll make YouTube videos on teaching other surgical techs how to do the same thing, other first assistants how to do the same thing. So if you ever get kicked out of the room and you feel like it was unjust, the first time, maybe just take it for what it is. Like, okay, whatever. But if it keep happening, it's gonna make you look like something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, it really could be, this doctor really need to be mentally evaluated because something is wrong with him. Like I keep telling y'all, at this facility, they had a surgeon physically assaulting people. These hospitals know that. These hospitals know that these doctors ain't, some of these doctors and surgeons aren't mentally stable, and they are still will allow them to interact with staff in a high stressful situation, which exerts or amplifies their mental health condition. And so I think people be really a lot more mental than what we realize. And because of that, what end up happening is you working with somebody, because let's just say you, like, I done been to therapy before several times, not so much for like no bipolar, but maybe some I had postpartum depression. Didn't know I was having postpartum because it didn't show up the way that I thought postpartum was gonna show up. So I'm sitting around here, you know, depressed. So I have to go get a therapist and stuff, right? So me having a therapist helped me be more self-aware and be able to work through my emotions and be like aware of why, like, or at least try to figure out why I'm feeling like that, right? And then get to the root cause of it. That's what I would say a therapist does for me. But these doctors, they don't be like as healthy as people would think. So then they bring all that mess into the room and then they kick you out, unless you're not competent, because it could be a competency issue if you get kicked out. But that's why you get kicked out of the room, y'all. Like, normally it's either you're not competent or the doc don't like you. Like, they just don't like you. They don't either like the way you look, because it could be like, y'all think it ain't racist, sexist, classist surgeons. Y'all think y'all finna go walk. Y'all think y'all finna go work, and these surgeons they're not racist. I was in Middleburg, y'all. Back in the day, Middleburg, Florida was not where black people should be at. So it still have that kind of underlying tone. You know, if you from here, you already know what it is, right? So I can't say that the man racist. He could be. They can be. You don't know somebody racist, but you will get some little micro passive aggressive little statements and comments, things like that. And so I don't always pick up on social cues when it's like passive. I can tell when you being straight up aggressive and like straight up disrespectful, but I sometimes don't pick up on, oh, they trying to be funny, right? I don't know that, but it's racism in the OR. It's just masked a little bit different. It's classism in the OR. It just might be masked a little different. It's sexism. Check this out. We'll talk about sexism. How is it that, check this out, the one doctor that kicked me out the room, this person was in the Army, and she coming, like, she the type where she feel like if she was a man, certain things wouldn't happen. But she grumpy and she bitchy to everybody except for certain men. So it's funny because she feel like, and she, I mean, I know she feel like this because she said it. So she feel like if I was a man, certain things wouldn't happen. But then she treat women, other women, like how she feel like the men treat her. But then when the men, certain men come in the room, she all, even text, like if it's a male text, she all, you know, happy and cheery out and bushy tailed with him. But you get a woman in there, and Lord forbid if she low-key racist and I don't know it. Now you got a black, good morning. You got a black woman in there with locks in her head. She got crystals and jewels around her neck. And she letting y'all know her ancestors walking with her through this hospital. And so that's a little intimidating. Like, but I don't know that. Like, somebody had to tell me, like, that's intimidating, Kiafa. Like, people aren't as comfortable with certain things, like, as you are. Like, people aren't open to different, like, people with differences. Like, just because we're not the same, I mean, I feel like I need to be judging you. Some people feel like they gonna judge you because you're not like them and stuff like that. But the sexism thing trips me out, because if you sexist, like, how are women sexist to other women? But it's a thing. Like, you would think sexism would be a man being some type of way towards a woman, but it don't always be that. It could be two men, like where a man don't like another man because he might be taller, or he might be handsome, or just intimidated by his physique or whatever like that. Is that. And then you got the kind where maybe the man feel like the woman need to be, you know, and stay in her place. Because I done had that before too, where you out of place. You need to keep your mouth shut and stand there and be pretty. So you just have to decide, like, or not decide, you just got to be aware of what's going on. People think just because the OR and it's a professional environment that these things don't happen, and they do. Racism happens, especially in the South. I'm in Florida. It happens. It's way more prominent. It's just low key. Like, you just got to be able to pick up on it sometimes. But you got that classism where, oh, that's a text. They might not make enough money, or you don't have this. You don't live in a certain area. Your kids don't go to a certain school. Like, that's classism. So then you got that. And if you come from the hood, because, you know, if you come from the hood and you're in the OR, sometimes oh, she's ghetto or something like that. People don't be knowing. They just be like, it just show their ignorance a lot of times. I think the only acceptable reason to be kicked out of an operating room is if you're not competent. I think if the charge nurse, good morning, if the charge nurses or whoever, the manager, directors, or whoever in charge, if they allowing it to happen, then that's bad leadership. And I don't do bad leadership, y'all, because bad leadership will have you giving all of your energy to this, you know, to the team, to the OR, whatever, and not really having your best interest in mind. Like, they just doing whatever they need to do to keep the doctors happy and not really keeping the staff happy. And I ain't saying happy, because, like, I don't need to kind of word happy, but respect, that's a bare basic minimum for humans. And if you feel disrespected, because disrespect, I can't say disrespect is gonna be subjectable, because for me, I might find something disrespectful, somebody else might not. And then, like, who's right? Both of y'all right, because if you say something to me and I find it disrespectful, I'm right, because that's how I feel. And then if you say something to somebody else, the same thing, they might not feel disrespected. So it's a subjective situation. But just know, like, if you get kicked out of the room, it could be, and it's not competency. Like I say, it's not because you keep contaminating stuff. It's not because you clearly don't know what you're doing, you dangerous. It's not that, because that's a reason to be put out of the room. If you don't know what you're doing and you in these cases, you need to learn what you're doing, right? So I get that. But all that other crap, I think it's just the doctors on they high horse, feeling superior. And I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm gonna just come home and I'm gonna just stage it out. When the moon come, the full moon phases, I'm outside with the moon. I'm outside working with nature to realign myself. And I'm gonna let that junk go. I'm gonna just send it out to the universe and let the universe deal with people with a bad energy, low vibrational situations. Like, I'm not finna be sitting around here. Like, I'm gonna remove myself from those situations, y'all. But if you just get kicked out of one room and you're like, okay, well, dang, maybe that doctor don't like me, but you get kicked out of another room, at this point, it's not a matter of them not liking you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just trying to put you in your place a lot of times. And you ain't finna put me in my place. Like, I'm just not her. I'll just be at the house. My place is at home with my family and my animals. Like, that's where my place is. So I would just say, be mindful of your surroundings, because that'll play a part too. You probably should work in places. I'm gonna tell y'all, I had a really great experience in California. Like, I think California was dope. They had a lot of chill. California itself is not dope, like the state, but the people there were way more chill and relaxed. I guess because everybody's sitting around smoking weed. But I'm talking about everybody, nurse, OR nurses, anesthesia, everybody smoking weed down there. They growing on things in their backyard. But and then even like I was saying, New Mexico, like, it was chill there, but it wasn't like Cali. Like, Cali, I think for me, New Mexico was chill because I like the indigenous environment of the Native Americans. Like, you can feel that energy there. So I think I like that more with them because of that. But as far as getting kicked out of the room, that's why you get kicked out of the room, you guys. Like, it could be the doctors got mental. We're going to recount because I'm finna put this phone down and focus these next couple minutes on my walk. But we're going to recount. So it could be competency, which is legit. It could be racism, sexism, classism. It could be the doctor have a mental health issue that's undiagnosed, or it could be diagnosed and the facility, you just don't know. Like, you could be working with a whole sociopath or something, and you might not even know it. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't go around asking people their medical history. Like, for all I know, half of them doctors could be in there, you know, with multiple personalities. Like, that's how I be feeling, because they be acting like it. So that's what I got for y'all. Good grand risings to everybody. If y'all haven't already been in here, if you appreciate my content, please hit the like button. If you just to show me some love. But y'all, my God, it's early, right? So I was like, I'm gonna get out here and get at it before the sun comes, because y'all, man, Florida heat is not what you want to play with in June, July, August. This ain't it. Or like in the afternoon. So if you're gonna do something like an exercise or something, you might get out here and get it before that sun come all the way up. Because actually in about, let me see what the temperature is right now. Hold on. It's 64 degrees, so this perfect. It's perfect weather right now, but in another hour, so it's gonna be like 74 degrees. So I'm gonna hurry up and get my butt in the house, hopefully. Actually, I got a little bit of gardening to do, so I'm gonna do that, and then I'll probably get some work done on my computer. But yeah, y'all, like, don't worry about it. If these doctors, if you get kicked out of the room, don't worry about it at the end of the day. Like, but if it's a habit, if it keeps repeating itself, you might have to get out of Dodge, because there's some underlying stuff going on that you're not aware of. Like, you just don't know what's happening. It could be a whole lot of things happening behind the scenes and you won't know it, because you can't go be like, hey, is Dr. So-and-so bipolar, or does he have multiple personalities? Or you can't ask that. You would think because they high functioning, you would think because they surgeons that their mental health would be on point, but it's not. Like, I remember I was working one time, one of the doctors killed himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand they human beings too. They be forgetting it. That's why I be like, it's some mental things, because you get too far high up on that horse and you forget who you are. You know what I'm saying? And you want to come bring other people down because you need to feel like they're inferior and you're superior. I'm not inferior to no human being on this earth, no matter how much money they think they got, especially if you working for money, if you trading your time for money. The only difference between me and a surgeon is they spent 10 plus years in school and racked up a whole lot of debt in the process to do that. Some of them might have got scholarships. Most of them, and even with scholarships, it depends on if it's undergrad and all of that. So I feel like if we both trade in our time for money, we both humans, we both put our feet and our pants leg, one leg at a time, one foot at a time. You're not better than me. Oh no, the person that's working in the cafeteria is not inferior to the surgeon or the CEO of the hospital. Like that, it's not a thing. If you believe that, then it become a thing. I know who I am, so I'm not finna sit around here and be treated inferior to nobody at all. Like that's just not. I'm just not finna accept that energy into my being. I'm not gonna let my being feel like, oh, just because it's. Let me tell you who I would look up to though. If it was somebody, I would look up to somebody that's done created something out of nothing, like a business, and they making like a couple million in their business, but they not trading their time for money. They don't treat people like they're superior to people. Those are the type of people I respect and look up to and be around. But as far as somebody kicking me out that room, I ain't studying them people in that shit. I stay home. Find somebody else to come in here and deal with your low paying positions and your bipolar ass doctors. I'm finna sit up here with these dogs, you know what I'm saying? And make sure my mind right, so when I'm interacting with people, I can uplift somebody. I can inspire somebody. Like, I just wish people would realize like what kind of influence they really had on other people. Because if I can influence you either way, why would I influence you to make you feel less than? The only reason I would try to tear you down is because I'm in a weak state. I'm weak. I'm low vibe. I'm not in a position. I'm low. If I'm low vibe, then I'm gonna try to bring somebody else down with me. But if I'm vibing high, I'm finna be like, y'all got to come up here, like this way the vibe at. So I'm around people that's inspiring me and uplifting me. That trying to make you feel like you're not important and like you're not incredible, the incredible human being that you are. Like for people that's like that, that's the scum of the earth. That's scum. I don't care how much money they making doing these cases, and a lot of cases, y'all, you don't really like be needing. A lot of times, you could just, some of these surgeries, these people be going in here and getting these surgeries. Some of them they be needing, like if it's cancer and tumors and mass and some of that like that, that's fine. But you be going in here and getting these cases done, these surgeries done, and these doctors be on some low vibrational energy, and then you can't figure out why you got this energy on you, why you got this type of energy on you, because you done sit around here. Like imagine you go get a surgery from a doctor and the doctor don't even like you could be a low class person, a black person, a white person, whatever. The surgeon could be racist, sexist, classist, all this stuff, mentally unstable, and they operating on people. You know that? Do you know you can transfer energy through touch? Do you know that? Like, I can send my negative energy to you. That's why I don't like people touching, like, especially touching my hair. Get your hands off my hair. Unless you love me. Like, if you love me, then you can touch me. But if you don't be touching me, because you transfer the wrong energy. Now I got to be sitting right here trying to figure out what this energy is on me, and it ain't even my energy. It's somebody else's energy. So, anyways, you guys, that's all I got for you. I'm going to go ahead and get off this phone. I'll catch y'all in this video. I might pop up tomorrow. So maybe I won't do one when I'm walking, because I'm just out of breath at this point. I ain't gonna even lie. Not out of breath, but talking, trying to walk halfway. Not fast, but fast enough to get my steps in. So y'all get outside, get in nature, get some fresh air. let the sun get on you. You know what I'm saying? Be positive, inspire somebody, show somebody love. Like it's fun because people be thinking like it's weak to show love. Like, it don't be weak to show love. Like, that's probably one of the hardest things to do, is show somebody that you like, to be vulnerable with somebody and show somebody you rocking with them. So tell somebody you love them today. You know, mean it. Uplift somebody or something like that. All right, you guys, thank you for watching. Whew, I'm about to pass, not pass. I'm about to, bro, not about to pass out. That's not what I was gonna say. But let me get out this phone. I'm finna pass this dog. And so he gonna start barking. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Sorry if the camera is like weird because the sun is behind me. But I'll catch y'all on the next video. Bye, guys.